Hey guys, welcome back. It is Lucid, and I'm joined once again by Maryland.
Howdy, everybody.
Okay, so it's turn 64, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Is it 64? Yep. And last episode was probably the most chill episode we've had in a long time.
With the exception of the very fun Ind defense of the fort.
Yeah, that's what we should name that one, is the reverse communion, the reverse Bahamut communion.
Ind comes from behind.
Yes.
I'm the backdoor man.
Okay.
You should do a little clip of George Thorogood.
Yeah.
Or is it George? Anyways, or I if you want to, I'll find that song, but I don't know if you'll be able to find a version you can put on.
Yeah, probably not. But it's but yeah, I mean that was pretty cool. I mean the Ind Pangaea War is pretty intense right now, and I think because of this message, I was kind of peeking ahead and reading this message from Sai. So I think this is the first turn of the new player for Ind. Ind was busy or had real life things, and they had to get a sub. Really, and it's a Hydra game, right? So they had to get like another sub. The original sub that they came with wasn't enough.
Oh wow!
And so we got somebody, and we'll see how they do.
Who's running Ind now?
I can't remember. They actually subbed into a game into like a very desperate spot. And they just did an excellent job fucking with me when I was trying to finish off this nation. And I was like, I can't remember their name right now. But I just remember like, dang it, these guys just did great in a desperate position as a sub. And I was like, okay, we'll put them in this one.
Because originally it was J-PAP, right? And okay,
I tried to get a few different people. Like I tried to get, I think Perun, I tried to get him to do it. I tried to get a few other people to take the position. But anyway, this is what we got.
We'll see how he does. I guess we better finish up this paragraph.
So on the topic of complimenting Ind's former Ind's troop movement, the way he spread out real units, by which I mean sacreds and devils, in escalating quantities to counter my raiding parties has been really good, or really great too. I'm interested in seeing what the substitute player is going to do differently. I expect him to scale up cannibal production with the safety that the former player has won, but we'll see. I think that he's also quite likely to be more effective diplomatically, which would suck for me. I think it's not unreasonable for Ashdod to try to get bigger by going in on me before joining the Pan versus Pelagia war.
So he knows about the Pan-Pelagia war that's coming.
Right.
That's an interesting little tidbit.
What he doesn't seem to know about is the desperate straits that Ashdod is in.
And he didn't comment on the reverse communion.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a message from Ind, so I guess we'll go in and see what's happened this turn. So there was a force on top of Ashdod. Did we have a battle here? Oh, we had a big battle.
We did.
All right, boys. Popcorn out.
Yep.
Popcorn out. We have the Anuki of Growth.
Can you hit the C key?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. That helps.
Bunch of strength of Gaia.
And we saw that the Anuki had a huge pile of gems. Looks like Howl up.
So let's take a look. We've got Howl. We've got Rigor Mortis. Ooh.
Rigor Mortis. Oh boy.
Grip of Winter. Cast by a Dryad. Foul Vapors. Okay, so this is a fatigue and a poison play. And has poison resistance. Does not have any reinvigoration to speak of. And I do not see the presence of a single bitch mother.
I don't see any, and no large spells up yet.
And the problem with that for Ind is that for him to fight a fatigue play, he is going to need relief. That's really the only way there is to fight this.
Yes.
And the only way really for Ind, casting relief actually is pretty trivial. But he needs bitch mothers. He needs nature mages that can jump into a communion.
Well, a quick glance here. The armies are about equal in size, but it looks like the mage corps Pan has trouble.
Yeah. I'm guessing we have darkness coming up. Oh, Darkness, solar
Is that
brilliance.
solar brilliance?
Yeah, or solar eclipse, yeah.
Solar eclipse, not solar
Yeah.
brilliance.
So darkness doing some work, but the fatigue is starting to creep up. And so far they haven't laid into any important units.
No. Ouch.
Ooh, Sleep
Yeah,
Cloud
this
being
is-
very effective here too.
Yeah.
Because as these guys sleep, they're gonna get afflicted by rigor mortis.
And some swarm. And some imps.
Oh, it's a lot of free spawn. All the wolves
swarm.
and the imps.
And even Bladewind.
Oh, he hasn't even gotten a chance to fight the real armies yet.
No, he's just sitting there chewing up
Oh,
chaff.
things are starting to run.
He's-
Get out while the getting's good, boys.
I wonder if the Magi get away for in.
Yeah. So this is what Sai was talking about. He and I had a long back and forth where he was saying Ind
Yeah.
cannot fight my armies because he doesn't have a way to deal with the fatigue plays. And I was saying, well, that may be true, but his job is to get a way to deal with the fatigue plays. And he just needs to get bitch mothers up here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got ways. Cold resist. I don't know if he's got any way to put up cold resist. Relief. A way to put up relief.
Yeah.
But it's tough to deal with rigor.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
The combination, though, is the rigor plus all of this free spawn, kind of, from the imps and from the
Yeah.
swarm.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few things, like we're going to talk about how Ind wins this. Ind basically is going to have to make a lot of fire elementals, because the fire elementals are going to be immune to rigor mortis. It's something Ind can actually do pretty easily. They can do it with these Femini
Right.
sorceresses. They can jump in communions,
Right.
or they can do it on their own, depending. And then you have to spend a fair number of gems, probably like 20 fire gems, and you need more fire mages than this by a little bit. But also the cap-only mages can all do it. All the maguses can do it. And they need a pretty big line of fire elementals. Earth elementals are also great here because they're going to trample things, which is area of effect attacks, very good against imps. Fire elementals
And
not great against imps, by the way, but the earth elementals are great. And then he needs relief because the problem, like at first, it didn't seem like the free, like the wolves and the imps, it didn't seem like that was overwhelming. And that's because they were killing them about as fast as they were getting made. But as these guys started falling asleep and they started swinging their swords less, the free spawn numbers started kind of building up. And that was a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, any kind of free spawn, the longer the fight goes, the worse it is for you if you're not the one making it.
Right. Yeah. So...
Well, that was a bit costly.
Yeah, this is kind of just like... This isn't a weak army that Ind had, it's just the wrong army, the wrong composition. And that's kind of the point Sai was making when he and I were going back and forth. Is he was saying, he can't fight me because he doesn't have the right army composition. And I think my point was that maybe you run around some and raid, but the important thing you have to do is get that army composition. Like, so that you can win these decisive battles, And let's see, he might have this here, actually. This looks like a much better army comp. Because he's got bitch mothers here. But I don't see nature gems. Uh-oh. Yeah, this is not what he needs. And it's not enough mages still.
If this is the turn of transition, and depending on if the previous player had said, "Oh, I gotta do the door," so hang on.
I think I can finish your thought for you though. So okay, he's got some mages here. So if this is the turn of transition, it's very possible the new player didn't know what the rock was cooking, or I forget who that saying is for. But anyway, somebody was cooking something, and I think it's one of these things we've seen it happen a ton of times. Every time you have the player transition, there's that loss of continuity, and you forgot why you shouldn't storm the fort or something. And here, I think he was probably like, okay, well, let's take the tools we have, and let's put them together as best we can and have a fight.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, that was just a quick.
Yeah. So I was trying to finish your thought here with that this might have had something to do with the player transition, and that the player transition might not have known what Sai was doing. So he might not have known there was going to be a fatigue play.
That's right. What I was thinking is, depending on if the previous player had, say, archived older turns and then sent them to the new player so the new player could see some of the previous fights. Otherwise, you're kind of going in blind because you haven't seen what your opponent's been pulling out.
Right.
And so it's entirely possible that he had not seen any of the fatigue play armies and so didn't set up for it. To give him credit, he might be completely without the intelligence.
I mean, it's without a doubt a huge disadvantage when you come in and you don't have any of the context for the situation, for where the pieces are on the board and why they're...
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. So it all depends on how much time they had to talk to each other. If somebody had to drop due to, a personal emergency, you may not have any time to sort of give your substitute some coaching.
Right.
So it's hard to say.
So, I think it's interesting because on one hand, Ind is finally coming back and saying, like, let's force a fight. But then it's just this catastrophic loss, which is what Sai was saying would happen. And then here we have more of the right mages, but not quite all the right mages. More of the right. He needs more of these sorceresses, more of the abbot maguses. And the bitch mothers need to be prepared to cast, like, relief and stuff, which I think he has researched by now, but I don't know. It's, It
would be interesting to, maybe if we figure out who the substitute is, between recording this one and the next episode, I can see if I can have a bit of a chat with him and see what he has to say.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We'll do that. We'll do that after the break.
But certainly the situation for Ind is going to be a lot worse with this army taken off the field. Without a doubt.
Well, like you said, that's 3 cap only magi.
Yeah. But yeah, it's complicated because you have to know what your enemy's going to do, and then you have to know the right counters to it. And I don't think he even knew what the enemy was going to do, and he didn't have the counters for it available. So
that's what it looked like to me. Like he was just trying to put 2 armies together. He got caught halfway between, and he got caught out without all the preparation that he would have needed to survive that fight.
And a lot of times too, people don't try as hard. People aren't going to usually do like testing for hours or something for a position they sub into. Also, they're going to just be like, "We're just going to do the best we can," And like, I have limited information. This is what I know. This is the stuff I have. Let's just try to form it into a semblance of an army and go.
Yeah, like a mid-game, late-game sub is an advantage for the player who didn't sub.
Yeah, for sure.
There's really no question. This is all to the gain of Sai and Pangaea that there had to be a sub.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any implications because I know what it's like when you have to have a personal emergency and you just say, look, I just can't do my turn. So either we need to do a week-long delay or find me a helper or something.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened to me very often. I actually was even to keep sort of playing through my cancer, but I had to back down a lot.
Yeah. So okay, on this southern front, not much has happened. A little bit of raiding here within. Still Pangaea sitting on top of these forts. The army here. Oh, he's patrolled out a pan assassin. We get a very brief insight into the cancerous world of the assassin battles.
Oh, Blackheart and Lighthawk. And he got rid of this guy.
Get the fuck out of here, is what he says.
That's kind of nice for Ind. And you got a
Dryad too.
And another.
Let's see the battle here.
Yeah, does that one have anything interesting, or is it just nature gems?
Not even a nature gem.
Just pure seducer.
Just a naked Dryad wandering around in the forests.
Yeah.
The 3 demon knights. Very budget rating squad from Pan here.
Yeah, with a Revenant of all things.
Yeah.
Revenants are not really budget. They're useful,
Yeah.
but 9 death gems for a Death 1 mage isn't really
Yeah,
budget.
that's fair. But Womp's up on these soldier priests. I mean, these are sacred, so.
Yeah, I personally would probably choose a Mountain King if I wanted to lead those couple of demon
Yeah.
knights. It's only 3 gems. But that's just a minor difference.
So wheels are pretty loose on the tracks here for Ind. If we look at the armies he's got left, he's got a medium-sized army here that doesn't have a ton of mage support. He's got a bunch of garbage up here. He's got 2 small armies here. And this is his last army, but this which is his closest thing that he has to a proper army, doesn't have the right kind of mage support for the fighting it's going to need to do. It needs elemental path mages to do elementals in conjunction with the relief and stuff. The idea that you're going to soul slay or mind burn or buff your way through a fatigue play is pretty unlikely.
I agree with you.
So it's a very hard, like, if we look at the problems the sub player is going to have to deal with, in some ways it's kind of insurmountable. The other Ind player was dealing with the problem that they didn't have the right types of things to fight Pangaea. They were dealing with it by not fighting Pangaea.
Yeah, by moving sideways.
Right. Which
vectoring off to a different direction, trying to avoid those big fights until he was ready.
Right, which I didn't like because, in my opinion, I mean, you don't want to throw away an army. So throwing away an army, not good. But you need to get your army ready to go to fight them. Like, you can't just run away from stuff and do things sideways and have it usually turn out good, especially versus Sai playing Pangaea. So
the devil's advocate there was Sai was saying it did work in a way because it kept Sai off balance.
Right.
Is kind of how I interpret what he was saying. That part of it kind of did work up to a point.
Up to a point.
But there's that up to a point thing, and I think we've reached that point.
Right. And what has not happened in parallel, and you can argue it didn't happen because while he was running around out here in circles, he was probably attritioning off a lot of mages to dryads and what have you. And, his units were far away from the mages, which he needed to reinforce them. Because to fight Pangaea, he needed to have his armies in the same places as his mages. And the mages he needed was probably not so much these sages. It was probably a lot more these sorceresses, and then his cap-only mages. And then the bitch mothers. So the problem that the sub is going to have is he doesn't necessarily have the right things, and if he does have the right things, they're not in the right spot.
Well, and I don't know how many bitch mothers we can realistically think he has, but he lost 3 last turn in that desperate defense.
Oh, right.
Which was effective, but he still lost 2 or 3 bitch mothers in that fight, in that throne.
That's a very good point.
So, I mean, he may not have very many of them left.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So,
well, I noticed that, and he lost a couple of, I think, the cap-only maguses.
Yeah. So. It also, I also have no idea why the Ind player left, but they did leave in a pretty desperate state. Like, it was almost like a corporate executive who they don't want to confront something bad, and so they do a bunch of they do a bunch of things so they don't have to show a loss on the quarterly report. And they keep doing that, and then they're like, okay, we just got a great deal for a new position at another company, and we're leaving. Thanks so much. It's been great working with all of y'all. And the new guy comes in, and there's like all of this hidden debt, basically, that it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's going to come to roost in the next quarter down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some experience in the corporate world with what you're talking about,
so
I appreciate the but we don't know. And to give credit, there's lots of very valid reasons where a person just has to say this.
Oh yeah, for certain. But it's yeah, he doesn't. He just doesn't have the things he needs to fight them right now. We haven't seen it yet, so and it's going to be hard.
Well, I think the easiest summary is this is just all to size advantage.
Yeah, that too.
This change of leadership.
Yeah. Okay, so who next? Who do you want to go to next?
Ashdod, I think.
All right. You want to read this for us?
Just peeking into Zib's cap to see what he's got to clog the gate this turn. Planning on using Wrathful when I go in. Another Heir 2 arriving to drop Storm, along with 6 Shaman to rebuild the Communion here. Most stuff sitting on the cap is on Bodyguard this turn to try to catch his 2 Water Bottle and True Shot Bow Assassins. Preaching with my Priests on the cap to hopefully get better morale. Well, he should be getting even close to, he might Dom kill.
Maybe.
Still no Incarnate Bless the turn I write this, so no God yet. Just trying to keep his other forts covered for now. Oh, smart move, and something I guess I forgot about. If you want to know if somebody's God's back and they've got an Incarnate Bless, see if it's active.
Yeah.
Addendum. Trying a turn 1 Strange Fire with my God, who is an innate caster, so spell will drop instantly. Hoping since it's 3 times AP damage versus undead and no save, it'll target his white mage if he tries another Wind of Death trap using Return Ring.
Huh.
It should be range 50 for Astral 4, but may miss from a precision perspective. I'm expecting you to use some other high hit point chaff to soak a traditional Soul Slay attack. We'll see, I guess. So that's not a spell I know very well. Let me look that up.
Yeah, it's specific, I think, to Ashdod. I don't think it's super high range, though. Check the range. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit it.
It's 40 plus 5 per level.
Okay.
It's Astral 2 base. So area of effect is 3. Number of effects is 1. Precision is only 1.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this thing? Ah!
What is that? A giant troll?
An arrogant demon.
What the heck? Ooh, I've never seen that.
I think it's a hero.
That looks like... It must be.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What a monster.
Okay. Let me look that up. Heroes. And this is for Xibalba?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that thing. I don't ever remember seeing that. It's called the... What's it called?
The arrogant demon.
Arrogant demon.
Or it's got a name. Zibakna.
I don't have the mod loaded.
Well, that's probably why. This doesn't look quite like an Illwinter sprite.
It looks like, yeah, it looks more like something by Somber or the other guys.
Yeah.
And it's been scaled up a bit.
Yeah.
Arrogant Demon. Here it is. Okay, it is a Xibalban hero from We're the Heroes.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's got Grab and Swallow. Size 6.
Yeah. So,
And what did he put on it? Great sword
of sharpness and boots of quickness
boots of
and
quickness.
yeah. So not much inside. I mean, this is pretty meager. It's all that's
Fall
left.
bears,
Yeah.
a few cubes.
But he's he's got these guys kitted up with some weird little plug things, and he can clog the gate up.
Well, there's be some frozen
Yeah.
heart. He might be able to enlarge the cubes. I know enlarging cubes and moss bodying them is a pretty good play.
Yeah.
And the glyphs on top.
Yep.
What's going on down here? I see the throne down there. Looks like somebody probed that throne.
Yeah. Ashdod saying hi. I just took this throne in one of the games I'm in. And oh my god, one thing because I looked at the from this thing, you're like, oh, the Anuki of the sky. And you're like, oh, this is probably like one of the, like Earth 4, Air 5 ones or something, You're like pretty high air mage. No. This guy...
Really?
That was what I had thought. I don't know. Do you know what he is?
Nature?
No, he's Air 8, I think. Yeah.
Oh, just straight
With
air.
pure fucking air gems in his whole inventory. This motherfucker can summon like 40 air elementals.
Right.
It is
right.
ridiculous.
the biggest hassle with dealing with this throne with the Springhawks is they hit you round one.
Mm-hmm.
Springhawks. So you've got to have some shock resist or something.
Yeah.
Kind of you form a big blob to protect your Magi inside a blob, and then let the rest of it sort of beat itself off you. The Springhawks, I mean, there's a cheese trick where you just send a single thug in that's got 20, 30, or 40 shock resist, and it just sits here and types this thing out. But I've never taken this throne using the cheese trick. I've used deliberately a sandwich formation, make sure my Magi are well surrounded by stuff that can hold off the Springhawks until you can actually kill the rest. Because the rest of it isn't particularly hard to kill.
Well, 40 air elementals is tricky. I'll just put that out there.
The air element, but a little bit of evocation or some magic weapons. There's things you can use, but But the biggest trick is if you jump in here carelessly, you'll lose all your Magi to the Springhawk.
He'll cast Living Clouds, and as an Air 8, it's like 8 or 9 air elementals a cast, and he will just do Living Clouds, Living Clouds, Living Clouds, Living Clouds, Living Clouds, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
It's not an easy one. Absolutely not. So I can see why everybody's left it. We'll deal with that when we're done fighting.
I will say I took this at turn like 30 or something. Mm-hmm. So these guys leaving it till turn 65, come on. Man up.
Yeah.
That said, there hasn't been a period of peace where people can afford to lose 100 troops or something taking this with an army. But
remember, the other Anuki was right beside it.
Oh, yeah. The Anuki of Growth and Rebirth over here.
Yeah, so there was the two of them sitting there. Everybody kind of left it until Pan finally came in and charmed the first
I wonder
Anuki.
If Pan has thought about going after this one. I mean, having an Air 8 mage would be ridiculous for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would be potentially game-changing.
I guess maybe he's just been too busy, or there might be a diplomatic understanding as well.
I mean, it's also going to be hard as hell to get, because it's going to summon all those air elementals in combat.
Well, I think you'd have to use like a multiple numbers of charmers and hope that one works.
Yeah, it could be that too. I don't know. That's something you probably actually would want to do a test game for or something. It'd be so hard to get set up right.
So Xibalba still has 3 or 4 little armies buzzing about.
Oh yeah, he's got one little thing here. He's got
single Camazotz.
These guys break out.
Siege.
Fix this.
Well, that was basically empty.
Little group buzzing around here. Yeah, saying like, "Hey, I'm here." I mean, he sent us the message 3 turns ago where he's like, "I'm done, guys." But it's great to see that he's still moving his armies around and trying to. This game has been phenomenal for people playing to the bitter last moment. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been, I think, for the viewers too. It's been one of the highlights. So,
can we have a quick look at the graphs? Because the one I was curious about is Dominion killing Xibalba.
Real quick, he finally got the monster war.
Finally got rid of that.
All right.
I'm just curious.
No, it's not close.
Where is Xibalba? Oh, no. That's a long ways away.
Ctis is closer to Dom killing than, I think, Dom killed than Xibalba.
Yeah. It would be one way to finish off Uruk, is just park some priests on top.
Yeah. All right, well, it's time for for Ashdod to storm Xibalba. There's no excuses. He knows what's inside. He's got a shit ton of Anakites on the top.
Speaking of Xibalba, looks like his final underwater fort is under siege.
Yeah.
Pelagia is parked on there with,
That'll do it.
So
some ghosts too, which are great for sieging underwater.
Yeah, he's got, that's that spectral mage leading the ghosts that we've seen moving about.
So that's looking good. Oh, Xibalba taking this back from Pelagia. We'll see who takes this back. I assume it will be Ashdod, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of what we guessed.
But I think that's basically this conflict in a nutshell. It's a bunch of tiny raiding and basically just waiting to see what happens on top of Xibalba's capital.
Yeah. And once that capital's gone, Xibalba's income should shrink to negative.
Yeah. I guess, too, once they take Xibalba's capital, he should be able to steamroll this. Because one thing we didn't really think about was He's got, what, shock resistance 15 or something on his Bless. So these
That's right.
these Springhawks shouldn't be a problem. He should just plow right through them.
Yeah, he wouldn't have that much of a problem. He can put a big line of Anakites and Secrets.
Now, that said, it's also the Throne of Misfortune, which I don't think anybody's ever too happy to claim. Especially a Luck 3 Ashdod. Going from Luck 3 to Luck 2 kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's a pain. But at least you can lock it down so you can claim it when you need it.
And, there's probably good gem sites here or something, too.
It's a good chance.
Okay, so I think then next we have to go to Pangaea, right? Oh, we already did that. Vanheim.
Vanheim.
Boy. All right, when you receive this message, I should have all the provinces and forts that were agreed upon in my peace deal with Ulm. That should net me an income of at least 6,000 gold per turn, which will give me about 3,500 gold per turn when you subtract out my current upkeep of about 2,500.
God. His upkeep is only 2,500.
Yeah. Not bad at all. Grim income has also has also increased a lot, especially Astral, which I used to be pretty poor in. Only my air income of only 13 gems is somewhat unsatisfying.
Only 13.
That's pretty good. I mean, he's number one in gem income for the whole game, just about. I will also have Enchantment 8, which will give me the ability to use Mass Regen in battles, as well as the Thin spells for elemental resistances. Will also give me Liches.
Enchantment 8 is a wonderful target. There's so much in that one.
Right. Which makes casting Darkness and other death skills in battles so much easier. Pan seems to be winning against Ind a bit faster than I like, so I'm moving forces to prevent him from getting too many thrones if necessary. If Pan takes all of Ind's thrones, as well as the 2 independent thrones, he will win the game. But at least he should not be able to claim 6 thrones at the same time, since I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the Holy Threes for that. Because he doesn't have any water provinces from which he can make Bishop Fish, and lost all of his Holy 3 heroes in his war with me. Yeah, they had a lot of Holy 3 heroes before that war with Vanheim.
He did. He lost 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, those are costly.
I plan to step up my blood hunting a lot, to the point where I can call myself a true blood nation. Great Eagles will help with patrolling and can double as siege chaff when needed.
Okay. Solid.
I've ended my nap with Ind. That will give me a chance, if necessary, to grab one or both of the thrones on my border with Ind. Poor Ind. So I can hopefully prevent Pan from getting them if Ind starts to lose too fast. I tried to get Ind to sell me one of the thrones, but he's not willing to do that.
No. Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, Vanheim's position 1, I think, by a lot of the graphs, so I can understand not wanting to give him a throne, but he's also not really in a position to negotiate.
He's also, I don't think, in much of a position to hold it. Can we look at that, where those thrones are?
Yeah, let's take a look. So, Ind has 4 thrones right now, I think.
Yeah. So we're looking at Ind thrones that border Vanheim.
So he's got this one. He's got this one. He's got this one, which is probably the main one he's talking about. And he's got this one, which also Vanheim's probably looking at.
Yeah, and see, both of those have flimsy forts. They're going to be very hard for Ind to hold.
If he gets both of these, that will put him at 5 thrones, though, which I think is about proportional to Vanheim's size, though. So
I'm just saying that not selling it, the alternate is it will be taken. I mean, I don't think Ind has any way to stop those 2 thrones from being taken.
We're getting into like weird situations though with Ind, where it's like, if you can't do anything, then why not give up shit for free? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to have answers to such questions, right? Because
it is.
If you're playing to win, what's the optimal move? I don't know. There's no paths to winning from where I can see. So I don't know. I mean, on one hand, he could sell it. Like, you could name a price, which would help give him a better chance of surviving against Pangaea if he actually gets a cash infusion. So, maybe that's the better move. I don't know.
Do we see any signs of Vanheim moving armies towards the front to dealing with Pelagia? I don't see it.
Really hard to say. They're mostly on the Ulm front. This army, I think, is starting to move northward.
You were kind of talking that you thought maybe his better front to form up is his southern front towards Pelagia. But I'm not seeing a shift.
Well, there's a lot of stuff here. We don't see it immediately in play. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, and if it, yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah.
So not a lot of action from Vanheim, just cleaning up, finishing off, taking a fort from Ulm, which should have been more or less.
But I mean, look at this gym income for him. It's ridiculous.
And his forts, I imagine they're up. Yeah.
He's looking real good.
Looks like he's finished taking over what he bought from, what Ulm agreed to give up.
I want to see what's happening over here in Pelagia land. My guess is he's storing up for Nexus. Because we don't see a ton of summons. I can't even really make out.
Oh, there's Cthulhu.
Oh, wait, you saw him. Oh, yeah. We do see him.
So he's moved the Kraken somewhere else, so now we can see him.
Huh. It's also possible the Kraken died to a horror or something.
Yeah, I suppose.
But
the only way we'd tell
is if the Bless wasn't active or something. I don't.
Unless the Kraken moved to one of the new forts he took over.
I don't think any part of his Bless though was incarnate. It was what Farcaster and
No. Yeah, so. I don't think so. But I was just, I thought that was interesting that finally, because we had been saying one of the first wishes you ever want to do is Cthulhu. So we know he's wishing.
Yeah.
We pretty much knew he was wishing, but now we have absolute confirmation that he is.
Yeah, I mean, he told us he was going to start it soon too, a while ago. So
yeah,
I think he's had it since he got it early, like turn 51 or 52, like really early.
Yeah. There's not much. I just don't know where the Kraken went.
Yeah. So we know he's at least at 2 wishes. It's going to be hard to tell. He might want to get another wish summoner. And I think the next one you would get is probably a land-based dude. So it's possible he's moved the Kraken to a land-based fort to get...
a mound fiend. That's an interesting thing. He's got a mound fiend.
Yeah. Magus.
Unless the Kraken is in one of the new water forts.
That would be kind of weird.
One of the ponds. It would be kind of weird. Like you said, though, it's possible the Kraken got hit by a horror. I don't remember if it was marked significantly.
It's okay. We don't know there. But we know he's at least at 2 wish casters, maybe upwards of 3 now, which is pretty significant. Basically, each wish caster, once he has it armed and operational, is basically like a Jimjin global. For Pelagia, anyway. For other nations, it's not the same.
If you wish for gems, your net is 25. Right. Your profit. Right?
Well, normally you break even. But for Pelagia, you make a profit of 25, I think.
Yeah. I think that's what I was thinking of.
Is that right? Because
I'm sure somebody will do that.
I think it's half of that. It's half of that. Because you would normally take those water gems and you would turn them back into pearls at half the rate. Right. But now you turn them in at a rate of 1-to-1. So you make, instead of having to spend 25 water gems to get the 12, or to get the, whatever the half of that is, 13 pearls to funnel back into Nexus, you only spend half of that, which leaves you the remainder as profit. So,
Right.
Okay, and then Ctis Ulm. Let's see what happens. So, Ctis magic phase is here.
And Ulm runs away.
And I think Wind of Death didn't cast, even though he probably had it, because Ulm was already retreating. And the AI is probably like, let's not waste gems on that.
Yeah, okay.
So Ulm basically correctly predicting where the god's going to go. but his forces get scattered to the wind. And
so it kind of looks to me, if we sum up, all really has to worry about is the Neater.
Yeah.
Because none of these other Ctisian armies can really affect him.
Yeah.
So if he can predict where that Neater is going to go, he'll be in good shape. Or if he can put together an army that can counter that Wind of Death. Either way.
Yeah.
He's got the capital of Ctis under siege again.
Oh, yeah. What did he do this with? Oh. I missed this one. This is kind of spicy.
Oh, the Queen of Air.
Living Clouds. Just hello.
That would mess up the Neater, I would think.
Yeah, it might. Okay.
False.
So that was pretty nice. He's got the cap locked down. I think he's got a shade mail on the Queen, so she can just zip out if need be.
Right.
I mean, things are looking very bad for Ctis, but he's doing everything he can to make Ulm pay.
He is. Yeah, no question about that. He's doing a good job. And
I kind of want to look at Ulm's score graphs, too.
Okay.
See if he's... Because Ulm is supposed to kind of be in a recovery mode now a little bit.
Do you want to leave Ctis on?
Yeah. All right, so he's kind of been getting punished still in forts. Provinces, he's made a little bit of a rebound. He's back where he was about 15 turns ago.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, that was during the period when he was raiding and counter-raiding still with Pangaea.
Yeah.
And prior to the major elfing by Vanheim, we could see the deep downslope of the major elf move.
Yeah.
So what about income?
He's fine.
He's coming back. Yeah, he's coming back.
I mean, compared to Vanheim, he's right there with him. It was a very good deal, I think, for him to get out of this, given that he couldn't win. I think so. It would have been a lot better if he could have won, but that was kind of off the cards. It wasn't in the cards when he made that deal.
He's completely trashed Ctis' income.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yes, just gotten wrecked here.
Research, of course.
No.
Gem income, it's pretty solid.
Army size, stable.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
Okay.
So
he's putting the screws on Ctis.
Yeah, he's far from out of the game.
Yeah.
He just needs some thugs or something to deal with that need.
Yeah.
And I would argue that I would just stop using his basic troops against the Neater at all and use something else. Thugs or...
You're not going to kill it. It's got a ring of returning. I think what you do is you just have a way to send it back real fast. I mean, you could soul slay it potentially, but you just have a way to send it back super fast. It could be air elementals or...
How much shock resistance does it have?
20, so maybe not air elementals. It could be...
Flying Black Lord?
Yeah, it could be Flying Black Lords, or it could be...
Sword of Sharpness, or flying... Make a Bane fly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's something like that combined with turn 1 anti-magic. And you do those in your stacks, and I think it's just also... this is attrition, right? So, if you get him out turn 1 so he doesn't do multiple Winds of Death, if at best he only does 1... then you're getting your turn 1 anti-magic off. You're going to lose like 10% of your army every time. I think you just factor that in and try to take the cap real fast. Once you take the cap, you can't do the returning bullshit anymore. So
yeah.
But easier said than done, because he's got to get troops down here. I mean, he's got a pretty good pile of them here, and you can see he's getting sappers too, which is going to really help knock these walls down real quick. Oh, that's maybe a way to do it too, is enough archers might be able to send him home.
Yeah, his protection's only 17, right. So crossbows might just punch him before he gets that spell off.
So, I think that's it for this turn. Maryland, this is another pretty quick one. We're at 45 minutes. I don't think if they get much quicker, though, we might be able to do a twofer. And where we do 2 in 1 recording, but we're not super close to that yet, but...
But the action might step up again very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as soon as something between Vanheim and Pelagia starts to move, we're going to see some more liveliness. But just when that's going to occur, I'm guessing. I'm just looking at Vanheim's positioning. I'm thinking we're still 2 to 3 turns away from actual action from Vanheim.
Yeah, I think you're right. And he's not in a hurry. I mean, he's just gotten great spoils for free.
Exactly. Well, and he just told us he's going to set up a whole bunch more blood hunting. So he's going to want to put all that infrastructure into position, get that started, summon up patrollers. He's talking about a significant number of Great Eagles. He might be getting other kinds of patrollers, maybe just reanimation.
He and Sai are probably starting to think about astral corruption too. Because I'm sure they know Nexus is in the cards. So that's a reason to go ahead and get your blood hunting operations going very, humming along real fast before you pull the trigger on that. Yeah,
and to get good blood hunting going in newly conquered provinces, you've got to get the unrest down. You want to push your scales that way. Does Vanheim have growth in his scales? He sure does.
Yeah.
So he wants to have his scales pushed into former homelands so that he's got growth going on. He's got a lot of reasons to not rush.
Yeah. But, on the other hand, if there's, it seems for Vanheim too, no matter what they do, who they eat, how much stuff they have, they're like a bad diplomacy repeller. They just haven't had anything go against them diplomatically the whole game.
No, they've had setbacks in battles,
right?
But not all that many when you consider.
But it's like, we'll go eat these people or mess with these people, get a little bit. I mean, like if I were him and this has been my experience all game, I'd be like, let's get more stuff. Nobody wants to ever mess with us.
Yep.
But maybe he's just walked that line so perfectly of how much can he get without drawing aggro that, it hasn't happened. Or maybe people just don't want to fight the elves. Hard to say.
Well, people usually don't.
Yeah.
But, you have to. You can't ignore it.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, Maryland, I want to thank you for joining me.
You are welcome.
All right. And viewers, thank you all. You're the reason we do this.
All right, guys. Have a great week or a great day or until next episode.
Oh, we were talking. I can't remember if it was... we'll probably plug this beginning of next video. You have some cool stuff going up on your channel. I've got all these episodes have had a link to your channel in the description. Do you have anything that's kind of gone up recently you just want to kind of do a shout out to? Maybe people go over there and take a look at?
Yeah, absolutely. The newest thing is I decided I would get a bit of a jump on the Lernian Hydra, which you're in. You hosted the concept. That's the Hydra game where you've got 2 players playing the same nation, hopefully lots and lots of back and forth, and it's actually turns out to be quite a bit of work because you talk kind of all day long, you swap turns back and forth. There's been some tricks. So I put up the first couple of turns of that. It'll be a little bit before the next ones because I need to stay enough behind.
Right.
But that's the new series that's coming up now is the Lernian Hydra. And then in maybe about a month, I think a whole bunch of us are going to start doing up the new draft All-Stars.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I'm in that too.
But that has to wait until the first 20 or 30 turns goes up. But I'm putting things in place. So it's looking like we're going to have 15 or 20 YouTubers between these 2 new games, all showing a game. So kind of like the tournament, except that now we've got everybody showing their own views. And I'm setting up the links. So there's you, there's Sai, there's
Sakane.
Yeah, Sakane's going to do omniscience, Zan. There's a whole pile of them, and I've got some of the links already up on my first episode. But that's the first new thing coming up is the Lernian Hydra. And just my perspective with my teammate or my partner, not teammate, my partner Vincenar, and he and I have had, and we also partnered as well in the friggin' All-Stars. So it's the same partner, and we've worked out a really good relationship. So we've been having voice and video conferences, text conferences. There's a lot going on. It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Last week was.
Did you enjoy the draft?
I found the draft bloody hard work, but it went well. And thank God for Vincenar, because he went and did all the research digging, open up the mod inspector, open up nations. And what I kind of brought to the table was, I remember this crazy trick.
Yeah.
That might work. And so we'd dig it up and we'd look at it and go, can we synergize that?
Right.
And without going and giving away too much on the draft, because I'm going to do up a video with Vince and explaining all of our drafting choices, but I don't want to publish that until the game's well in hand. Because
you don't want your bag of tricks going out before you get to spring them on somebody.
That's right. I mean, a lot of people, and if you're interested, the discussion in that channel for friggin' All-Stars has been really interesting because we had Sai come in, who's not in the game, and sort of critique the various drafts.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see an outsider's view.
Yeah. Well, Sai's always got really good insight on things. But it was kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like weird to like talk about this stuff before, especially when it's like negative stuff about a nation. I don't know. I feel like too, it's like just to wait and see what it does. Don't.
Well,
but, yeah.
I made a bit of a hidden reference, and you made it. Oh, come on, what's the word? You made it explicit. Is that if you start discussing your draft choices, or other people do, before the game starts, you're actually giving a bit of intel out there, and it's almost a bit of early diplomacy.
Yeah, it totally is diplomacy. Like, you want to convince everybody in the game always that, like, you're scary, but you're not so scary they need to kill you. And that's, like, the game everybody's playing. Like, don't mess with us, we're scary, but we're not so scary that you need to mess with us.
Well, and that's a really interesting discussion, because in the whole process of drafting, there's an implicit amount of diplomacy going on while you're drafting.
Yeah.
And so you're not really giving away true secrets, because every time, like when we picked Numidian sorceresses, well, it's pretty blatantly obvious, and we picked Femoria.
Yeah. We know what that is.
Blatantly obvious that's an air death play, right?
Yeah, with the Femoria's national spells, which are awesome. So
exactly. Anyways, so that's what's upcoming, and then I'm getting back to finishing up some older games. So the other one I'm ongoing with is the old Blame Lyran, which is a Disciples game. And I just wanted to make a mention. It seems like Disciples games are getting a bit of love again.
Yeah.
There's been a few more people that come out with some interesting new ideas. Although, like you said, the 50 versus
that one,
50,
don't do that game.
I'll skip that.
Yeah, that's going to be a clusterfuck. But yeah, so cool. Thanks for sharing what you're doing. And if y'all haven't gone and checked out Marilyn's channel, go check it out. We'll do a shout out, and remind me, Marilyn, we'll do a shout out at the beginning of next episode too, because you got some cool stuff coming up over there.
Yeah, and right, sounds good. And definitely, check out the links to some of the other folks, because there's a bunch of folks doing some work that don't have a lot of viewership yet.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everyone. Peace be with you.
Peace on you.
See you guys.